Hey, welcome to the X and One Legion cast. It's me, your host, Randy, joined by Matt. No Mitchum this time, though, but that's okay. We've got a Jared with us. Hey, Jared, how's it going?
Great, man. Great. How are you guys?
I'm doing great because we are with Jared, aka Jared of Jerry's Game Shop. You may have heard of us talk about him before. Jerry's got a lot of sweet Legion accessories on his shop. Card sleeves, token holders, and he's been killing it with streaming tournament stuff lately and games. And he's built up a great Legion community out in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And we just kicked off a team league for the OKC area here, and they had a cool draft. And so, yeah, we're going to hang out and talk about Legion community and building that stuff up and getting more people to play. Because, you know, if you can't get better than the best guys in your community, the next obvious thing is to bring up some new guys. So you got some people to beat, right?
That's why my win-loss record has been going up. It's just because I've been bringing in some SEALs with me. So
absolutely. Oh man. But first, let's get some of the chores out of the way. Make sure you're liking and subscribing the channel so you know when we have videos every other Monday, but we do have surprises every now and then. If you somehow missed our interview with AMG, go check that out. And a bunch of us are headed out to LSO the week that this comes out, and we have a great interview with the LSO organizer Zane. That's still mint quality podcast, I must say myself. And and before we go too much further, we've got to get into a little hobby harassment. Mitchum is not here. Yeah. So I will stop with the self-beating. Start with the self-beating right now. And I am proud to report that I am up to 26 out of 60 now. So nice. I've got four more Black Suns done.
Ooh. Very cool. Very
nice.
Cool.
Yep. It's quite blurry on this cam, but we'll put them up on Instagram, which you guys should check out if you get a chance.
You need to run them boys in the team league.
Happy about that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I will share my list with you, Jerry. I'm going to try it out tomorrow. I think it's going to be the LSO list. It's 8 acts, though. I'm nervous about doing 8 acts.
And you can reject it as his master.
As the master.
You can refuse. You can say
for
no.
For clarity, I was the last place master, and Randy was the first drafted knight. So there's not very much, if any, difference between Randy and I's skill cap.
I just don't get to be on the council.
Yeah.
Yes, you're too young.
Yeah, that's fair. I appreciate that. So those Black Suns, finishing those up, I will probably be taking some to LSO. And then I've got one last swoop bike to paint. You know what's going to happen? And I'll only be a little upset because this means I'll have a new mercenary battle force. Is that at Mini-Strav, they're probably going to announce some new merc force where you can take 4 swoop bikes, and then I will no longer be done with all my swoop bikes. So, yeah, that would be my luck. But I would take it proudly to have a new mercenary force to play.
Yeah,
but I won't go down that road again.
Yeah,
I won't go down that road again.
I'll say, are we about to? Do I need to say AMG? Hear our prayers. Please give Randy mercenary force.
Right.
I told the Wills. I don't know what anymore I can do that, and they gave me stone silence. So, Matt, how's Legion life for you been?
Legion life. Okay, so I'll do it in parts. Hobby. I did some extra guys for my clones. I don't know why I'm doing this because I have been playing Wookiees.
Also, clone players don't take extra guys, right?
Yeah, I know.
That just doesn't exist.
It doesn't. It's not a thing. But I was inspired by Mitchum, and he was farming minis off of this. And I was like, I could farm some. I had them all glued up, and I was like, bing, bang, boom. Do a little of that. I did an extra arc guy. I haven't been using, but I did the heavy on my extra squad. Legion games. After my failure in Colorado, didn't happen this last week either. I did go to a Star Wars Unlimited pre-release, and I secured the baby Grogu. So
I did a couple of those as well.
That's awesome.
My best pull was just a Darksaber, though.
I got the hyperspace foil. I forgot some card, and I got a hyperspace Lando and a hyperspace Cad Bane, but I didn't get any showcases, unfortunately. So it is what it is. But this is not a Star Wars Unlimited podcast, so yeah.
But we are Star Wars adjacent in all things.
Definitely.
What about you, Jerry? How you doing? Any hobby for us?
Yeah. I got some Ewoks that I'm wrapping up on the table right here. Oh, just dropped an Ewok. I have
down.
one less Ewok down on the table.
There you go.
But this is unit number 6 of Ewoks. I got 5 done. These are pretty much done. They just need a little bit more on the basing.
What's your experience like?
Go ahead.
What's your experience like painting the Ewoks? Has it been
so easy because I prime white and speed paint everything, and it's
slap
amazing.
chop it on there. Nice.
Yeah, man. It's
nice,
quick and easy. So I just have like 3 or 4 different variations of brown, where like because there's redundant minis in them, so I just like make sure that the minis that are the same I do in a slightly different brown, so they're just not like identical. So, but it's pretty quick and easy. And then I just did the hoods in different colors for my different unit markings. So, but I'm also like repainting all of my Rebel and Empire stuff, and it's miserable because this was my first miniatures game, never painted before, and just didn't care when I started, and then now I do care. So yeah, my paint pile is never ending.
I'd be kind of torn between repainting and just waiting on the new sculpts. Did they say they're resculpting the core or just the Rebel Commandos?
I think we've all assumed that that they're resculpting the core. I'm pretty sure that they've just announced the Commandos.
Yeah, I think it's safe to assume everything that's in soft plastic now will be in hard plastic eventually.
It's going to be a hard future map.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
Do you have any more Ewok units to paint?
I probably will eventually. I kind of play everything. I don't.
Absolutely.
I don't stick with one list for too long. Like the LSO is like LSO and previously Adepticon. That's a question mark for the future for me, but pretty much just 2 major tournaments a year for me. And so like within a couple months of that, I'll like play the same list over and over and over. Like I've been doing Krennic Inquisitors lately. And so that's probably what I'll end up doing. I maybe only have, 15 reps with that list. And then once that's over, I'll go back to... That list
has some tricks, man.
It does.
Are you still doing the range troopers with that?
Yeah, I literally have 9 acts and not a duplicate of any unit. They're all different. It's Krennic, brother, sister, Shore with a heavy mortar, and then a snow trooper with a medic. I have IRG with protector, death trooper with the heavy and comms relay, and then range trooper with the suppressive gun.
So the IRG's new.
IRG is new.
I don't like that. Did I inspire you to get IRGs? Because that was not there when I was fighting you last time.
Yeah. That's
a little more melee backup.
Yeah, melee backup. So because a couple things, they help get the Inquisitors in, because like the list just falls apart if one of them dies on the way in, because you really need them both. Because their sabers are only 5 black dice, it's very realistic that you get 2 hits off of this unaimed swing. And so you have to have both planted in melee and then drop Krennic standby card on them. And then so the Royal Guard help them A, get there, and then B, make up for their lack of effect on their saber sometimes. But
I have a confession that I was extremely bored one evening and really jonesing to play Legion, and so I played myself on TTS.
Yeah.
I just grabbed a list off of like a random list someone had made off of Tabletop Admiral, and it was a Krennic Inquisitors list.
Yep.
And I killed my own Maul because both Inquisitors got into melee, and the only card left to play was the standby card, and I didn't realize, and I was like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the comms relay on the Death Troopers, too, is crazy because, like, you can Voracious Ambition and then comms relay an order to one of them. So, and because his entourage orders range 2, comms relay is also range 2. So you can essentially entourage an order to to one of them from range 4 away.
Maybe even a little more if you cohere your stuff a little funky. Yep. So
yeah. And
that's
then
spicy.
The other play that's super fun that if Drew was on, he could talk about the 2 times he made the judge call where my Krennic 2-pip beat their 1-pip because Sister adds 1 if she's at range 1 of that commander's cards. So their 1-pip turned into a 2. I played a Krennic standby card, which is a 2, and because he's cunning, he wins ties. So
yeah, that was confusing in that self-play game because I had Maul with cunning.
Yeah.
So all of those things were going on. Double cutting and the sister. It was But I learned a lot about the Inquisitor list from that. So
I think it may surprise some people. So we'll see.
It's got tricks for sure.
Yeah.
Well, cool. But yeah, we wanted to bring Jerry on. He had just put out a video on his channel, which we'll link below, about 5 steps to build a healthy Star Wars Legion community. And we'll kind of go through the main points is just to kind of guide our discussion here. But in past episodes, we've talked about last year, kind of the world's invite grind kind of seemed to stifle community building a little bit. But I will say it didn't seem to out in Shawnee. At Gilded Greyland, you really built things up out there. But I'm happy to say that this year things seem to have really popped back off. And it was Travis and Josh organizing that original skirmish league back in 21, 22 that got me and a bunch of other guys started playing. So I thought it'd just be cool to get into that. So how did you get involved, Jerry? When did you start playing with all the guys and stuff?
So I kind of got into gaming to miniatures gaming on accident. I had never really played many board games or anything. And I saw Imperial Assault on Amazon on sale one day, and I was like, oh, cool, a Star Wars board game, and thinking, it's going to be like Checkers Plus with Star Wars toys. And then I opened the rule book and I was like, oh. And then, did that for a little bit, got connected with, a board game community, got into board games. And then Imperial Assault led to looking at Imperial Assault stuff. Some suggested stuff was Legion. And I was like, ooh, Legion. I just started searching around for, watching games on YouTube, stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll buy a core set and figure out how to play it with my brother-in-law. And so we tried it a little bit. And I was like, okay, this game's awesome. And so I was like, I wonder if there's people playing this in Oklahoma. So I found the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group for Oklahoma Legion players, and saw that a tournament was happening, and I signed up, went 0-3, got my teeth kicked in, and loved every second of it, and been hooked since. That was probably right before that skirmish league, and that skirmish league is also where I really got hooked in, got connected with the community, and kind of sold out for it.
You're in it if you go 0-3, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm ready to play some more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's the right. You're in deep, really, because if you're that into it, that you're just like, I learned so much.
Yep.
I killed one thing the entire day.
Yeah.
But no, I think we've all been there.
2 ATRTs, Rebel ATRTs, and at least 2 units of Rebel Troopers with Z6s. So that that tells you how my day went.
Yeah. Rebel Z6 that's tough.
Oh yeah, man. I think my first skirmish league game, I was rocking a like Fleets, Commander Luke, ATRT,
Right.
and some troopers or something. And the very first thing that happened was Josh Cook came up, Vader's mighted the entire fleet unit. Like he one shot them with Vader's might. And I was just like, all right, I guess I'm gonna go home. If you guys don't want me to play.
I think I pulled up with like 3 barks with the heavies.
Nice.
That was the thing I did for a while at the beginning.
Speed
It's
2
like, yeah,
barks.
these 80-point barks are sick, guys, and it's like they're just literally just explode whenever somebody looks at them. So, but
yeah, that's great.
That's funny.
But yeah, cool. So the first thing here, it seems kind of obvious. It's the have fun.
Yeah.
So I mean that it's a game that should be the point.
Yep.
There was definitely times last year where it did not feel fun.
Yep.
Going, but we want to support our community, so sometimes we play even when we don't feel like it sometimes. But yeah, so what was your thought process there?
Yeah, I think going back to my first tournament, going 0-3, like you got to think about, if you're trying to build a community, you got to think about, you got to remember that like anybody who you bring in is going to suck at the game right off the bat. And how do you make an experience that makes them want to come back? Because I think if you asked anybody in our community, in our local community, like what do they enjoy the most? Like what do they enjoy about the community just in general? A lot of it's going to be not game related. It's just going to be, I have a lot of fun with these people, showing up and playing with these people, or those kind of things, or having fun Star Wars moments where Colton makes a Ewok trumpet sound as he pile drives me into the ground. And so it's, you want to be in tune with, you have to be really intentional and be in tune with like, what is it that the players in my community are coming here for? Like what is fun for them? Is fun for them playing the most try-hard list every single time and trying to win? Is fun for them playing on really cool tables and creating really thematic moments, like infiltrating clone commandos in the bell tower of the Ferrex table from our live stream that we were permanently stuck there, but he did it for the memes. Like, what are those people, what are people going to be drawn to, and what's going to make them want to come back? Because a lot of the time running the most competitive stuff to bully people around is not going to create a fun experience for building a community. It's just not going to, it's not going to bring people in. So I could pummel absolutely anybody who I brought in to teach, the game to, but that's not going to make them want to come back.
No, so. For sure. And I think what's nice about Legion is there's that like Star Wars baseline. Mm-hmm. So I think most of us who got into it were, at least the thing that caught our eye was, it's Star Wars. Mm-hmm. So I think you have that, and then, you just need to try to make a good experience. That's one thing I try to do. I'm sure I've failed at some point, but I always try to be like a good opponent. Like, I want to be like enjoyable to play against.
Of course.
So I think if you have like the baseline of like, you guys both love Star Wars, you have all these cool characters, you can have your moment, and then, try to have fun with it, right? Especially if they're learning. And then I think that's, you're most of the way there at that point, between the IP and, just having fun with the game, and then don't sweat it out against your person you're trying to learn a game with, obviously.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the tables, because thinking back on it, that's like something that really draws you in. Yeah. Especially when you go from like playing with pieces of cardboard on your kitchen table, and then you go and someone's got a fully printed Hoth table or something like that. Yeah. It's like, ooh, now I'm really getting into the weeds here. And so, yeah, I think that, it's a lot of work. I'm still trying to get my Bespin table in a good spot. It's playable, but yeah, it's a lot of painting, a lot of time, but
Yeah.
I definitely think taking that extra effort gives you more fun, lets people around you have more fun. I know I'm always excited when I see a new table at the locals because, we kind of do cycle through some of the same ones after a while, but then you like the Ferrex one at that last tournament. I was like, ooh, nice new table.
Yeah. Jesse did a great job with that one.
That was awesome.
And, the tables just, oh, my camera went away. I'm so sorry. I ruined the podcast. The tables, also help, I think, draw people in to who aren't playing, who are just in your game store. They walk by and they're like, oh, that's Geonosis, or oh, that's Naboo. Like if you're playing, I always try and make sure that I have like a really like apparent from a distance that this is Star Wars happening over here kind of table and experience when we're playing in the game store. And I try to get loud and obnoxious as well, making blaster noises and things like that. So yeah,
for sure. And that's a good point too, because from far away, who knows what miniature game you're actually playing.
Yeah.
So I need to throw my ATST popcorn bucket down on some more tables probably.
There you go.
Yeah, and
get that out there. Yeah,
that works. I mean, I can't even count the number of times you've had people just walk by like game I'm playing or whatever, and it's like, oh, is that Star Wars? Or oh, look at this. And it's like, oh, look at those clones, or whatever terrain we're playing on and stuff. And yeah, I think that's really important. So that's a good point you brought up, that just getting people's attention. And you say you're having fun to be obnoxious. I think that's probably being approachable. So it's like they see this fun table, they see these people over there having fun. They're like, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
What's going on over there? So
it's not the magic guys cussing at each other because it's a couple other guys making pew pew sounds at each other.
As an owner of magic cards, to say the smell probably hit you before the
our magic guys are in
Oh man, I don't think any community's innocent of that one.
Yeah. So anyway.
Oh man. Okay. Play consistently. This is a thorn in my own side. It is tough. I try to get games digitally mostly when I have to, just so I can stay up on things. But this year, this is the second league. There was one at Evan Unplugged Team League. You guys just kicked off. Yeah, I guess it's just about being visible, right? If there's no one there to play the game, how do people know about the game, I suppose?
Absolutely. Yeah. In my town, like I live in a smaller town outside of Oklahoma City, and we maybe have 33,000 people for comparison to your viewers towns that you guys might be in. So there's not just like this plethora of miniature gaming people. There's not 20 Warhammer guys in the store who happen to be walking by or something like that. And so you want to, and I'll back up and say this, like playing consistently is a problem. It is an issue for a lot of people, myself included. And so I think that consistently it literally just means consistently. You don't have to be playing every single week. Like we only have 2 play days a month at our store because that's all I can commit to. And until there are other players in our community who tell me, hey, I can be here every single week, then we're just going to keep it at that, because I know that I can be there twice a month, first and third Tuesdays. I know that I can make that work. And that way your store can also confidently say, if somebody's coming in and looking at the product, the store can communicate to them, hey, there's people who play this every first and third Tuesday. You can come check it out. They'll teach you about the game. They're super easy to get along with, whatever. So having that consistent space where, or that consistent time where you're playing is really, really important. And like, I'll say this, like, community building isn't for everybody. Like, all of us don't need to be community builders. Otherwise, we'll just be butting heads the whole time on how to do it. And so, like, if you can't play consistently, maybe you need to encourage somebody else to be the community builder in your community, or find, so. But yeah, playing consistently, that's huge.
Yeah, and you've done a really good job. And obviously that kind of commitment, if you're being a community leader, that's, that's more on you, because like you're the one who's going to be there every 2 times a month. So other people may or may not, but as as the leader, you yourself are committing to that. So I think that's really cool. That's really tough. So I'm glad you're doing it, because I know I do not have that kind of availability, unfortunately. So
yeah. Yep. And even if it's once a month, it's something that your store can put on the calendar and put in front of people. And it's something that you can put in your, and I'm sure we'll talk about the communication bit here in a little bit, but it's something that you can also put, like, thinking back to how I got connected with the community. I found the Facebook group, and in the Facebook group, I didn't even know what Discord was at that point. And because I found the Facebook group, somebody happened to post something about a tournament coming up, and I was like, oh, I'll sign up and try that out. So I did, and here I am. And so posting consistently in accessible places where people who aren't already in the community would think to go and look for things is important. So they have a connection to finding your consistent play night.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, with the league stuff too, I think that's been a good driver for getting people to play consistently. There's been some weekly raffles for just going up and playing, things like that. And I know for me, I don't think I would have been bold enough to say, I think I'm going to go try a tournament.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't until after I had done the skirmish stuff that I felt comfortable enough to do that. And funny enough, that was my first 800 point game, was at a tournament.
Yep.
I had only done skirmish, and I was like, oh man, skirmish is the best. Like, I just like had it in my mind. I was like, why would anyone want to do that? And then I played that first 800 point game, and I was like, oh yeah, this is clearly better in the way the game's supposed to be played. But there's just so many human mental blocks that you put in the way that I think just stop people from, oh, let me try this. Let me actually give a shot. Let me talk to somebody. So,
and I think that's a really good point too, when you're meeting new players, is thinking about, like, what are the I mean, that's just good sales technique right there. Is thinking about, like, what are the barriers from somebody taking the next step in this, and like trying to knock down those barriers, like, in your initial conversations. Like, I always tell people, hey, if you're interested in this game, I have everything. Don't go spend a dime. You just let me know some characters that you're interested in. Let me know a character that you like, and I will build an army for you. And I just make a super simple list where there's like 6 of the same core units doing the same thing with a character and maybe a heavy, and then I just run things in front of them for them to shoot with them. So,
nice.
just try and remove those barriers for people of, like, getting to, because it's a long, like, if somebody just buys the game, you got to build the stuff, probably paint the stuff. You should paint the stuff.
I had my core box for over 2 years.
Yeah.
Before I ever played the game.
Yep.
And I was just, because I was like, I don't have anyone to play this with.
Yep.
And it took me forever to put the stuff together and finally start painting it. I think me, like many others, COVID was a good, oh, I have time to paint.
Right.
I'm not going out and doing things. So,
right.
But I did want to mention, I think you had built some skirmish kits for your store at one point. And so just plastic containers. Here's literally everything you need. Open it up, play a game, which is cool because you've now taken yourself out of the equation if you need to.
Yep.
And that can live at that store. And
Yep. We did that for the duration of kind of like our beginner league that we did at the Greyland in Shawnee, and just had it wasn't, I wanted to stick as close to just like what's in the core set as possible, but you can't quite build a legal 500 point skirmish list out of the core set. So it was like Luke and 3 Rebel Troopers and 2 ATRTs, and then like Vader and 3 Storms and a speeder bike. But yeah, that all
that's
stayed
wild
in
to
there.
me. The points just have dropped that much now.
Yeah. Yep. And I had I also had a paper with like 3 QR codes on it. When you crack the box open, there was just a paper with 3 QR codes, and it said "Learn to Play," and it was just a rules video that I linked, which is all of them are out of date on YouTube now. I'm actually playing. I'm waiting to see what happens at Mini-Strav, and after that, I'm gonna decide when to do a new updated Learn to Play, because I haven't seen a Learn to Play video with a 4-card flop in it at all. I can't find one.
Oh yeah.
And so all of the other things that also happened with the since the 4-card flop.
I played a newer guy one time, and it might have been at Greyland, and he did his flop, and it was 3 cards, and I was like,
"Yep,
what's going on?"
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a skirmish thing. He's like, no, it said 3. And I was like, oh, you looked at the rule book, didn't you?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a terrible place to find the rules.
Yes. Yeah. And there's so much that's just like you buy a set, and there's so much that you're missing because none of it is like an updated rule book. Like they don't tell you that there's an updated rule book or where to get it or any of that stuff in the core set. So
yeah, and the game literally changed hands in between. So it's like you have a original core set. It says FFG everywhere on it, and that's
my Mini-Strav prediction is new core sets. But
sure.
They did that for their own game with MCP, but let alone an inherited game.
Whether how much the rules will change, I'm not sure. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a new core box for sure.
Yeah. But I also
it'd be crazy not to.
Yeah. I also linked the actual updated rule book on that little scan thing. And then the last scan was like our local Discord, so they could get connected. And it was like, have rules questions, scan here. And
that leads into communicate easy.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Segway.
I've seen lots of posts on game stores for Legion, and like I'm just like, wow, I don't think anyone hardly checks these, but occasionally I'll just go through and look, and sure enough, I'll see someone, hey, is anyone looking for a game? And I'll be like, you should come to this Discord where everyone is. And and they'll hop in there. And I feel like over the past year, we've gotten back to there's a new person popping in almost every week.
Yep.
I'm loving it. Loving it. I the turnaround, I don't know if it's because of the way we're running tournaments now, but just the turnaround of from kind of getting into the end of the world's season to where we are now. I feel like the growth has just been really good. There's a lot of new faces. Like that's what I was noticing on the draft for the team league, that I didn't know all these people, and it's like, dang, that's a good thing. So
yep.
But yeah, definitely Discord is great. Easy way to ping people. But there's just some people that will not use it. So we've got the Facebook for our community too.
Yep.
And then you had put those QR codes out. And I think that we'd print them off and put them at different game stores too.
Yeah. So I made a poster that also has more QR codes on them. One in all of the stores, I think, maybe definitely one of the Greylands, have them actually next to the product. And there's 3 options. You can schedule a tutorial, and it just fills out a Google form. It's just a Google form that sends to me, and they check what store that they're closest to and what army they're interested in playing. And then I connect them. I have a list. I reached out to our community and said, hey, who's willing to be on my list of people to reach out to do demo games? And so they got back to me and let me know what armies they have and stuff for that. And so I have a list. So if somebody says they're from HQ, I'm going to call up Travis and say, hey, Travis, here's this person. Here's their contact info. They're interested in trying out Rebels at HQ. Can you set up a demo game with them? And boom, and then so that's the first code. The second code on there is our Facebook group, because not everybody has Discord, but most people have a Facebook, and so that's pretty easily accessible. And we're all pretty active about making sure to post events. Those of us who are scheduling events, we're making sure to post about those in there. And then the third one is just a QR code to our Discord. I updated the Shawnee one. We have a Shawnee specific Discord because Shawnee people are not nearly, one, there's not as many, and two, they're not nearly as, I wouldn't say they're quite as engaged with the game and the community yet as like the people in the Edmond scene and things like that. But we're getting there. And so I made kind of a smaller Discord with less things that is easier to keep up with for them and stuff like that. There's like 30 people in there now, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you don't have me in there popping off every day or whatever. So
yeah, so and I feel a lot better about
That's what they
adding
need,
everyone
man.
in
That's
that
what
one.
they need.
Yeah, give me the link. Give me the link, Jared.
Oh
Get me
man,
in there.
it's you're in.
Oh, I'm in there. I'm in there.
I am
creeping.
2 hours away from Shawnee, unfortunately. But
I am.
It's a wonderful
I am 30
place.
minutes away from all the metro stores, so I am a local to all of them. Is what I tell myself.
Yep.
Yep. It's so far, so close, but so far. Well, cool. Yeah, and that kind of goes into seeking out new players. I know you get the first instinct you go through is like, well, which of my friends can I try to get to buy into this game? Hey, I got this box. I got 2 armies. You want to play with me, kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, that pool quickly runs dry.
And
then, yeah, what's been your experience with that?
Yeah. So I work in I work in ministry, and so a lot of my job is like, I'm naturally an introvert, but my job has kind of forced me to pull myself out of that. And so when I'm really intentional about a couple things. One, I'm really intentional about paying attention to like when events that the Greyland is doing, when I can go and have a Legion table set up on the side when I know that there's going to be a lot of people in the store. For example, when Star Wars Unlimited came out, we had like 26 people at the pre-release event, and I got a couple guys together and we had a couple Legion games going in the store because, hey, there's going to be 20 something Star Wars interested gamers in the store. Let's have some Legion stuff set up. And there were so many people who came by and like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was a thing. And we're just like blown away that this was a game. And so paying attention to that, my store has my store is really focused on board games. So it's pay to play there unless you have a membership. But they have a free night on Thursday nights. So every once in a while, I'll also try and have a game going. I'm actually going to have a game going this Thursday night because that tends to be a higher trafficked night at the store because there's more people there. So just thinking about through those things, like what's going on at my store where there's going to be a lot of foot traffic, where can I set up my table where there's going to be foot traffic? And then when people stop to look, stop your game and talk to them. Just get to know them and, ask them if they have questions. And I always, I kind of have a couple things that I always run through, like, oh, like, you like Star Wars? You watch much Star Wars? And, you can small talk about Acolyte and, sister Star Wars version. Or you can.
Are you about to chant? Are you about to chant?
Uh-oh.
No.
1, 2.
No.
Not many.
But anyways, just get to know people, just be intentional about not just like brushing them off and, tell them about play nights, tell them, we got the goods for you to try out if you want to try the game, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I just feel like you've made a bunch of really good decisions with how to like market this as like building a play group. I don't know. Like intentional is something you've talked about several times. And I think that does come through in all these steps. I feel like everything, like you've put a lot of thought into it. It's not just like, I'm going to do a league and then post on Facebook that it's whatever night and then be mad if no one shows up. I feel like there's a lot of little things in between that and, actually doing like a play night or building a community. I think it's comprehensive. I feel like there's always, there's an answer for most things. And then there's ways to be accessible and available. So I think this would be applicable. I think it'd be applicable in a lot of places for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that they, even before AMG took over, there's just never really been any new player outreach provided by the people who make the game other than here's the box. And like we said, it hasn't been updated. They have OP kits, which are great. And I think some of those are pretty fun, but that's all for people who play the game already.
Right.
Like there's not an OP kit like, hey, you're new.
Right.
You should play this. And, maybe that'll change. Ministrav does have like a panel on it seems like it's on new ways to play. Seems like they're working on Spec Ops. Maybe Skirmish is going to get a rework.
Spec Ops, if Spec Ops was like really kind of more popular, that might be a good place to start in a way. Because it'd be like you could buy a box of something and have a list.
I think it's kind of impossible to ignore the popularity of like Kill Team and Spearhead for this 40K stuff. And I think they're going to go down that route of trying to have modes more catered to, I just got to get my 1 to 2 units painted and I can play. And I guess there is the worry that that's getting on Shatterpoint's toes. But I mean, those are all your Anakins and Obi-Wans and your heroes. It's still going to be different than your rank and file guys going hallway to hallway, clearing out your Star Cruisers kind of thing.
Yeah, and Shatterpoint plays like a bigger game anyway as far as length, so if you could get some kind of Kill Team-esque game that came in a little shorter time, I don't think that would be really.
Yeah, 90 minutes or less would be a sweet spot for sure.
I'm still here, guys. My laptop's dying.
Yeah, definitely plug in for sure. So the last thing you had here on the video was talking about rotating events. I know it's tough doing tourneys. We are blessed in the local community that there's multiple guys willing to take on actually running a tournament.
Yeah.
I think a big effort for this year was how do we get back to running not just the World's Invite tournament. Let's do some other stuff. We had one Edmund League. Travis and I ran that Galaxy at War event, more narrative focused kind of thing. And now we've got a team league going on, kind of team league. It's master and apprentice kind of focus, and we can kind of talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But I know you guys kind of got together and had that conversation. Was there anything that came out of that? What the focus would be for this year? Because it's definitely working. People are joining up and coming out to play again.
Yeah. So the scene in Oklahoma is interesting because we have several stores that have communities that are spread out from each other. Like there's like a macro community, but there's lots of micro communities within it. And so our furthest players are probably 3.5, 4 hours away from each other. And from, one edge of the state to the other, but they all kind of come together often for our tournaments in central Oklahoma, between our main stores. And so some of our leaders of those micro communities that got together, and we realized that if we want our events to be large, we need to schedule with each other and around each other. And so we're blessed with great local stores that aren't, saying my store, or if you're going to be in my store, you're going to run a tournament every month. Like they'll run tournaments. This sounds harsh, but they'll run tournaments when we say we want to run tournaments, and they'll work with us. And so that's a huge blessing for us. And so we kind of were able to come up with this rotation where there was 3 of us, and there's really there's 3 stores that we rotate through for tournaments, and each one of us were a representative from that store, that micro community. And so really we just came up with this rotation of, we want to each of us is going to host 3 tournaments, and we're going to spread them out, and these are the months that each other are responsible for. And then within that, and then in the we want to do something every month. And then so on those months where we're not having tournaments, we want to fill in the gaps with things that are outside of like a competitive format. So like your narrative event that you guys did that I had to miss, I wanted to be there so bad. Things like that, fill those gaps with, like, going back to that have fun point, like that not everybody is here, and not everybody is here to just line up and play, brutal Legion and sweat the whole time. And some people want to show up and play Paplu's Wild Ride the whole time, or whatever OP kits come out, or the little octopus thing, whatever that was,
Dianoga or whatever. Yeah.
And to that, I would say sometimes people do want to sweat it out, but just not every month. Yeah.
Yep. And so we kind of came up with this rotation of, like, we're going to have something in the spring, we're going to have something in the summer, we're going to have something in the fall that gets us outside of the sweat. But then even in the sweat, like, I think it's important to find, like, within your tournaments, like with our 3-round tournaments that we do on Saturday, like, how do we make those fun, just as much fun for somebody who goes 0-3 as it is for somebody who goes 3-0? And so, like, I just went off the deep end on the second to last tournament that we did, and like made a bingo card for everybody. And it was like,
dude, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was so dumb, but the moment the game started, I was like, what do I have here for a bingo?
So, like, we just made these bingo cards of, like, for most of you who weren't there and didn't see it, we just made, like, B1, the first spot on B was win a game. The next one was, like, lose a game. Next one was kill an entire unit. Next one was, score 3 victory points, whatever, just tons of different things that could happen. And I had just as many prizes that were like raffle or random or bingo oriented, that were all like accessible steps for bingo, as I did for people who went 3-0 or were the best painted or things like that. And so, and it worked out really well, because some of the people who won those were like our 1 and 2s and 0 and 3s. And so that, I mean, anytime it's random like that, you run the possibility of just like adding to the pile of whoever won for the day. But it worked out really well that time for some of our newer players to walk away with some really cool prizes.
Yeah, we also do like a Mr. Congeniality award, sometimes, and then we're the Dust Bowl bounty hunter, so we like to have bounties at the tournaments. They're usually just small little prizes. Sometimes it's a drink, sometimes it's just $5 store credit kind of thing. We'll put them on the top players in the community, or we've done some. It's like, who's going to get the first alpha strike off in a game? Things like that. And I saw it a lot too when we ran the narrative event. You think it will be overwhelming at first having these other things going on, but it ends up just being fun having other things to think about beyond just the normal Legion game every time.
Yep, definitely.
I liked getting the good guy award when I was getting my face kicked in, so that did, it's a little pick me up.
Yeah.
So, I think
people love that guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
I love this kid that
I
let
think,
me curb stomp him.
yeah, I think that's a good way to go about it. And I think the bingo stuff too, because that's like an achievable objective, because maybe you can't win a game, but you can, alpha strike a unit maybe, or you can get this many victory points, or you
Roll
can
3
kill the
crits.
other person's commander. You can commit to something and you can get like a low price. I think that's a fun way to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm ruining the stream again.
You're good. I definitely want to talk about the new Master and Apprentice League. I will say from the narrative event, teaming people together and seeing how much they got into strategizing in just the brief 10 minutes between rounds for things, it would definitely show me that Legion is a very singular experience a lot of the time.
Yep.
And it is really fun when you get to enjoy it with other people in the moment, and having team stuff like that just really brings that out. So I'm glad we're doing this team league, even though you're playing all your games by yourself still.
Right.
Just having someone like, this list is trash, I shouldn't play it anymore, help me, somebody give me an idea, things like that. So kind of talk about the format and
Cool. Yeah, so some of the feedback, another thing we did before we kind of those micro community leaders met, is we polled our community and said, hey, what kind of events do you want to see in 2024? Like, what other than, like, obviously we're going to do the 3-round Saturday tournaments, like that's a given. But like outside of that, what are some things you guys would like to see? And so we got some feedback about wanting to do some leagues and stuff like that. And we talked a lot about like, okay, what do we want these leagues to accomplish? So like we wanted to have a competitive league for sure. We wanted to, but we also got some feedback on like wanting some team events and also more Master Apprentice style things as well. And so I had kind of been throwing around the team idea for a while because I love getting to play with a group of people and communicate, like just kind of strategize as a team and things like that. And so so we just kind of came up with this team league idea, and me being like a production guy, my head just kind of starts spinning with like, what are the fun things that we can do with this? And I was like, oh my gosh, let's have a draft. And so really we built this thing around, if I'm being honest, I came up with this idea building it around the draft. wanting to do a NBA draft show, because like Lord knows that most of the people who got drafted were picked last on the basketball team on the playground. So it felt good, dang it, to
not me and Matt. We're over 6 feet, baby.
Yeah,
tall boys.
All right, heck yeah. Matt didn't have that problem for sure.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So and by the way, I can give you the link if you want to all the things if you want to put that in the description. People can definitely go and just copy paste the format of all of that. But yeah, so basically the way it worked is we went off we had teams of 3, and we have teams of 3, and based on the number of people who signed up, we split into that many teams, and we ended up getting 24 people to sign up, which is way better than we thought was way more than we thought would happen. Ended up with 8 teams, and Travis, one of our local guys, has kind of he's got some statistics that he keeps players win-loss record. He is the
not
stat
just
god.
His own stats, everyone's stats.
Yeah, he's got everybody's stats, and so
it turns out he's got a file on me.
He does.
So,
a dossier.
Yes, if you played a competitive Legion game in Oklahoma, you're in the file, and you did not sign a waiver. But anyways, don't sue me. So we have from that list, we looked at, okay, who's our top players based on win percentage in the last win percentage, and then we also factored in involvement as well. I think that Seth might have had a slightly better win percentage than Colton, but because Colton had played 4 times as many games in our community, we went ahead and gave him the first seed and Seth the second seed. But basically, we came up with our top 8 players, and then that left 16 players to be drafted. And then we did a snake draft. We live streamed the thing. We called in the team captains, talked to them, just made a show about it, asking them about their strategy behind who they're drafting, who's on their draft board. I was putting up polls the week, a couple days in advance, asking who do you think is going to go first overall, things like that, and it ended up being really cool. So basically, the master drafts 2 players. The first player is your knight. The third player is your Padawan, and if you your team gets matched up against 2 other teams, and then you play each person in both of those teams. So you get 6 games in. You will play 2 masters, 2 knights, and 2 apprentices. If you beat somebody who you are ranked the same as, you score 2 points. If you beat somebody you're ranked higher than, you score 3 points. And if you beat somebody you're ranked lower than, you score. If you beat somebody you're ranked lower than, you score 3 points. If you beat somebody you're ranked higher than, you score 1 point. So that means your masters can only maximum score 8 points for the whole league, but your Padawans at the very bottom could score 16 potentially. And so there's a lot of, it really counterbalances newer players and veterans in the matchups, and then it prioritizes, making sure that your knights and Padawans are doing well in the league. So it really, I think it helps facilitate teaching and just collaborating and things like that.
And this is we're rebranding X and 1 to the Chandrilla Cowboy podcast.
Chandrilla Cowboys, that is right. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw!
For spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the draft, Randy was the first overall draft pick to my team. Oh man, I just smacked my mic. Sorry, you viewers. This is why you don't wear lavs for a podcast. Yeah, Randy was the first overall pick to the Chandrilla Cowboys. And yeah, also AI is a great tool if you need to generate a bunch of logos for a bunch of made up teams. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I am not going to be able to play, but I did have fun watching the live stream. I was traveling a lot that day, but I got back to the hotel and I pulled up the live stream, and it was definitely entertaining for sure. And you guys are definitely having fun. Mitchum was on there with Drew, and you guys were hamming it up. So it's a lot of fun, and it was fun to see where everybody went. I was excited. I'm glad that looks like all the Spice Boys got picked pretty high. So excited about
Randy
that.
and Mitchum were the first 2 picks.
So yeah, that'll be
We're
good.
hot commodities.
Yeah, Jared kind of buttered Mitchum up before his first pick, and then picked Randy. So.
I was conflicted between go with Randy, who's got the good stats, the best stats, or go with Mitchum, who's running, I think, a really good list right now with Obi-Wan and Clone Commandos. And because that the Black Sun thing is great. I love it. That's how I got my Worlds invite. That's why I played the Worlds. But Katarn Armor just is like, yes, please throw 12 dice at me. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I gotta get in there with my Darksaber for those guys.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. It was a cool setup. I think it's going to be really fun, and I think already it's doing its thing, because it seemed like Edmund was pretty busy yesterday with games. I think there was like 12 or 14 people out there playing already.
Yep.
So
yep.
I know Randy's got a game this week scheduled.
Yeah, there were already 3 games yesterday on day 1 of it. So
it's working. It's doing the thing. So it's great.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that you guys hammed it up. We have some Padawans that are new. Like, this is their first event or thing. And we don't know anything much about them other than what they filled out on the form, but you guys still hammed up some stuff for them, and I thought it was great, So if you're out there thinking about doing something like this for your community, just make it fun. It does not have to be accurate.
Yeah, and this is definitely, I'd say this is a more everybody's playing, and winning's great, but I think we're all looking to have more fun than anything. So if the AI logos didn't tell you guys what kind of league this was, it's we're all about having fun here. So
and alliterate team names because it's a blast.
Yeah.
And the structuring also, not just to help balance the more veteran players with the newer players, it is to help provide some guidance. Last year there was a Master and Apprentice League that Travis and Drew kind of spearheaded, with pairing up a more veteran player with some newer ones. I think those ended up being 3-person teams pretty much too.
Yeah, I think that was one master, a couple of apprentices for the most part. So
yeah. And I think this league is definitely benefiting from that, like some of the scheduling stuff, and was kind of tough because you just found out your opponent like every 2 weeks. But we've got it. You know who all you're playing for the entirety of the league, so you got a couple months to schedule around.
A little over 2 months, and you have all 6 opponents, and you could get all your games in 2 days if you wanted to, or you could get them all in on the last 2 days, like literally whenever you can make it happen.
Yeah. So definitely, if you can throw flexibility into your events sometimes, because that might be another reason why we got way more people to sign up. It might be hard for some people to come out on a Saturday for 3 games the whole day, but I can get a game in once every 2 weeks for the next couple months kind of thing. So the variety of the structure of your events too, I think, can bring out some new people.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
And I'd love to be the Padawan in your team chat. Get a little love from you guys. Get some instruction. So I think that'll be good.
I don't think you would have made it to the Padawan draft round, but
oh man, you could have snuck me in and be like, fun. Yeah, just Matthew.
Spice Boys
surprise.
Are like,
I have an ace up my sleeve.
Yeah, no,
we going high.
But no, I think it'll be good, especially if I was just getting into the game. I would love having 2 guys that have been playing for a few years to just not overwhelm me, but answer any question I might have. So I think that's a really good setup.
Yeah,
because especially these guys that have been the masters, I feel like these all are pretty good players. So
yeah,
it'd be good.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of good guys too that understand you want to help guide people to a good list, but also man, they love Droidicas. They really want to play them. It's like, okay, if you really want to play them, can I introduce you to EXD at least?
Yeah,
where they, got a little bit of a chance, kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, our Padawan is running 3 Death Troopers, so
hey, I like Death Troopers.
Yeah, and
they're good.
They're not terrible if you get them in Remnant.
They shoot hard.
Yep, they do.
Yep.
So they die hard to pierce.
It'll be good. Yep. I'm excited for it. I'm hoping I'm going to try to get all my games in.
You can do it.
I believe in you.
I believe.
Yeah, but it will be fun.
Yeah. I think next year we may end up adding a raffle or something, making a $3 entry or something and adding a raffle that you get entered into if you get all your games in. Just some little thing to just encourage people to get all their games in, or maybe a bonus point, something like that. So
yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah, we should do an X and 1 prize for the league, Matt. We should think of something. Sponsor a little prize action.
We are accepting sponsorships.
That's what we do here on the X1 podcast, is spend our money on things.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Yeah. Matt and Mitchum are the whales. I just ride the wake.
So that'll be good. Yeah, we'll figure something out.
I like it.
It can't go to Randy though. That's my only condition.
Okay. Problem solved.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's fine. That's fine. Just treat me like AMG treats me.
Yeah, I just don't want to like. I mean, I can just buy Randy something if that's what it comes to, but you know,
Oh,
Right.
yeah, there you go. I don't want to.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Well, great. You said you got a new learn to play videos in the works. Any other cool stuff you got planned for the pipeline?
Right now, an episode just came out prior to release of this video of Mitchum getting a game in right here at Jerry's Game Shop HQ. And he played Travis and ran that Obi-Wan triple commando list. That's pretty good. I won't give any
Randy
spoilers
gave him.
about that.
That's out. That just came out. So that's exciting. I've been looking forward to that.
Yep. It's coming
Very
out.
cool.
Well, it's coming out our time tomorrow morning, but as of release, it's out.
By the time you're listening to this, it's out. Yeah.
Yes.
This will be out next Monday.
Yeah.
So you got time. We are rivals in that we both take forever to release our videos after we make them.
I'm getting better now. We filmed that thing like 2 weeks ago, and then I got it edited already.
We just want to take careful, loving care on our content, man.
That's
There's
true.
a difference.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. I don't want to, apparently. So I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but no. I like your bat reps. I like that you take the time to condense them.
Yeah.
I've talked to Matt and Mitchum before about Jerry's already doing bat reps.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was going to do bat reps, I'd want to do them differently than how a lot of people do them.
Yeah.
And you're already kind of more in that direction already with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because, I mean, if I'm going to watch a game for 4 hours, I would like to just play myself.
Just play it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've been playing around with like a vlog style of them where I think I have one out. I have another one scheduled to come out. But I kind of just like, here's like deployment. Here's the card. Well, here's the card flop. Here's deployment. End of round 1. This is what happened. Here's our card flop. And then like, if there's like a really big dice roll or something, I'll show 1 or 2 dice rolls in the round and then just like kind of recap. And they're like 15 minutes. So it's
I watched that one. I like that. I like that one a lot. And I'm glad you did it. I feel like if I was doing it, I would miss something. Like I'd be like, "Oh, I missed turn 2." It's like, "Oh, there goes that video." But so I'm glad you did that. I think any kind of more digestible content, I think is But the direction I would like all battle reports to go, because there'll be some. They're like, "This is a 2-hour battle report," like Randy said, and it's like, I don't have time for that. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like I've got 4 hours a night that I have to myself, and I'm not spending half of it watching a battle report. Like I'm gonna play. So
yep.
Anyway, but I'm a big fan of the channel. I feel like
Thanks,
your production quality is very high.
Thank you.
Keep it up. And X and One Rocks 10% off. Jerry'sGameShop.com. Etsy shop.
Token trays. I don't have one.
Yep. Go over to his YouTube.
Nice card sleeves.
Yeah, the sleeves are
for
great.
Objectives and
definitely got
cards,
the sleeves.
for sure.
Command cards. Yep. He's got it all. Anything else? Any other plugs?
Can't think of one.
Well, if you're listening to this the week it comes out and you're in Texas, maybe you'll be at Lone Star Open. Definitely come up and say hi to me and Mitchum. We'll be there. We might have a little thing to give out.
Not me.
A little thing.
Jared will be there.
Yeah, say hi to Jerry. He's gonna be full yeehaw Inquisitor mode. Helicopter sabers. He's gonna Willy Wonka his way into the stadium. Hello.
But X1 Production Incorporated is working on some maybe have something for people at LSO.
Ooh.
So we'll see.
Yep,
excited for that.
Shameless shilling on our part,
for
sure.
So,
but so that's the big thing, and that is the same week Mini Strav is coming out. So we will probably not be the cutting edge video for the Mini Strav announcements, but we might do a little bit of short reactions or something like that, and then next episode be for sure. Yes, and we can finally let out all of our true feelings and thoughts
Yeah,
and
it'll be
excitement
good.
about things.
We'll be like the time to breathe for a few days, then video kind of deal. So
yeah,
it'll be good. I think there'll be a lot. There'll be a lot to process. So
there will be a lot of announcements.
Mhm.
It will be the most mini extravaganza. Well, great. Yep. So links for all that below. Again, make sure you like and subscribe so when you know new stuff is coming out. And for that, that is the three of us signing off. And remember, X&O is just one community event away. Later.
see ya.